Fala pessoal, tudo certo? Sejam todos muito bem-vindos e muito bem-vindas a mais uma edição do BlockInsider, o seu podcast semanal sobre cripto, Web3, finanças e tecnologia. Meu nome é Nicolas Sack, eu sou o seu host e hoje, como de costume, vou trazer um convidado bem especial para conversar com vocês sobre um tema ligado a essa indústria de cripto. A gente vai fazer um pouco diferente de como a gente costuma fazer, porque esse podcast vai ser em inglês, porque o nosso convidado é estrangeiro, mas você vai poder contar com as legendas que vão ser exibidas aqui na sua tela durante a nossa conversa. Então já vou mudar para inglês aqui para a gente continuar nosso papo. So, I have here with me Dave Wang. Is that how I pronounce your last name?
Correct.
Okay. Dave Wang. He has a pretty amazing history in this crypto industry and market. He's also a Harvard graduate, right? You have a lot of experience in finance. You worked at Morgan Stanley, you worked at SoftBank, and now you have your own investment firm that is called 99 Investments, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So
99 Capital.
99 Capital, sorry.
Yep.
So it's very great to have you here with us. Welcome to the BlockInsider podcast. And
yeah, thanks so much for...
So before we begin, I usually speak up with the guest about its personal preferences and sports that he make, something like that. And I would love to hear more about what you do in your personal life besides what you do in your professional life. So can you share with us a little bit about who is Dave as an individual?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I try to keep myself busy. I think spend most of my time working, to be honest.
Yeah.
Have a lot of things on my plate to keep me busy, but in terms of like personal hobbies, I mostly like to spend that time on sports, gym, those sort of things. Used to play rugby back in college, swam in high school, go to the gym quite a bit, been picking up boxing, that sort of stuff. So,
boxing, oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned swimming?
Yeah, I swam in high school.
So, in high school. And at the college, you used to play rugby, right?
Yeah, I played rugby in college.
At Harvard?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought that the U.S. universities used to play more like football than rugby. I thought rugby was more like a UK sport.
Yeah. I mean, it is a English sport, but there surprisingly are a good amount of rugby fans in the U.S., including myself. So yeah, I picked up rugby back in college.
Colleges here in Brazil also have this rugby culture as well.
Yeah, and something we did back in the day was during our spring breaks, we would actually go abroad to play other teams. Yeah. One of the years, I didn't go on the trip to Brazil, but one of the years, the team went to Brazil to play some local colleges here. And
anything related to arts or something like that?
Yeah, I played piano for 14 years. So I was a classical pianist for 14 years.
Wow,
and
that's amazing. That's something actually that Harvard demands, right? For you to join, you have to have some talent in sports, some talent in arts, as well as good grades on.
Yeah, I think good grades is a baseline to get in, but it's a baseline to get in, just like good SAT, good good grades, etc. But I think how you really differentiate yourself is with some of these like extracurriculars. So for me, that was piano.
And you still play piano?
Definitely not as much.
Because it's something that you need to practice a lot.
Yeah, not as much as I used to. Back in the day, let's see, my average was 2 to 3 hours every day.
Every day, wow.
Back in the day, it was 2 to 3 hours. And then before competitions, I would go up to my maximum was 12 hours. I've done 12 hours for a couple of weeks before.
But it's interesting because piano and rugby are two different types of activities that hardly come along, right? Because if you injured your hand, like how can you continue the progress in the lessons?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to be good, don't get injured.
Amazing. So Dave, you got a unique mix of skills. You play piano, you used to play rugby, you go to the gym. How do you think that this different types of abilities that you have helped you out and helped you progress in your career, and what type of reference does it have on your day-to-day activity and the way you think about crypto and other type of venture capital?
I mean, from that perspective, I think just developing mental fortitude. I think to do anything well in life, you need mental fortitude, but I would say physical activities and these sort of like arts types activities are complementary in terms of the type of fortitude that you build. I would say stuff that's more like physical, it's trains you to be more brute force. So when it gets tough
and resilient, right?
Yeah, exactly. When it's physically painful, when these sort of obstacles come in front of you, you just have to push through.
Yeah.
Versus
it helps build discipline, right?
Builds discipline, builds mental fortitude on when it gets tough. I would say for stuff like the arts, stuff like studying, that stuff is great for developing, call it the fine tune ways of thinking. So how do I approach XYZ problem strategically? And if you combine both of those together, can I work not just harder than everyone else, but also smarter than everyone else?
Yeah.
Is a good combination to have. So I think it's quite important for everyone to have a mix of both of those.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And talking a little bit about 99 Capital, I know that you've begun your career at Morgan Stanley, right? Which is a large investment bank in the U.S. Then you went to SoftBank.
Yep.
And now you have 99 Capital as your company. I would love to hear a little bit more how it was this journey for you, how you started, where your interest for finance, crypto, and technology came from, and how did you progress throughout your career?
Yeah, happy to give a quick background about myself and kind of this journey. So,
okay, let's go.
I'm very fortunate to have grown up in a household where my parents were very pro tech. So, for example, like first iPhone that came out, second iPhone, third iPhone, we all bought that in the house.
Yeah, amazing.
My dad was a big tech enthusiast, so was surrounded with
App
that.
Store from the beginning, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, grew up in that sort of environment, and then going to college. So, my brother, he went to MIT, and I was going to school across the river, so I got to see my brother quite a bit. MIT had a huge Bitcoin culture. So back in the day, US, you can't drink until you're 21. So I need a fake ID. My brother got me a fake ID on Silk Road. So I remember being at his frat house, and he was on Silk Road buying Bitcoin in order to buy me a fake ID. So I remember I remember watching him. He was sending a bank wire to some guy in China, and then this was back in the day. Now very easy to buy Bitcoin, but back in the day, what he would do is send a bank wire to someone in China, just pray that doesn't get scammed and actually gets Bitcoins to his wallet, and then he would go on Silk Road and buy something there.
Buy some fake ID.
That was my first touch into
your initiation in crypto.
Exactly, as with a lot of folks, especially out in the US. But that was my first touch point in crypto, and then when my brother graduated in 2015, so there was a Bitcoin whale, gave everyone in his class a whole Bitcoin. So
wow.
Now by then it was, I think, 2K or 3K per Bitcoin, which at that time I was like, damn, this is actually a good amount of money. You could probably make some money off of this. Yeah. Because watching it from 2013 to 2015, 2016, just watching the price go from two to three figures to four figures, I was like, okay, there's probably some sort of opportunity here. Yeah. I made some pretty good money back in college doing affiliate marketing with Lyft in the early days. I was one of the first affiliate marketers for Lyft in Boston.
Like drop shipping or just affiliate marketing?
Kind of like Uber. So Lyft isn't in Brazil, but basically Uber competitor in Boston. I referred over 10,000 riders to the platform, and a lot of drivers too, and paid me some pretty good money to do that. I put I put that money into these exchanges to start trading crypto. So back then that was 2016 or so, during the ICO days. And
which exchanges, like Coinbase,
Bittrex?
Bittrex.
So Bittrex got shut down now.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I was in the school library trading on Bittrex, skipping classes to do that. So
amazing.
So I started trading back then. Made some good money doing that. Learned some lessons through bear market of 17, 18, and then after graduation, I started banker at Morgan Stanley. Regulated securities, stocks, these sort of things you can't really trade as a banker. So
you're actually forbidden to trade it. Yeah.
You can't trade those sort of things. So
but you could trade crypto, right?
Exactly. So back then, no one knew what crypto was. I was actually pushing the bank to do some crypto investments back in the day, but it was tough to get through. But anyways, always kept up with crypto on the personal end on that front. And then 2019, I joined SoftBank LATAM. Hence why I spent so much of my time in Brazil and in Latin America as well. I was one of the first earliest hires on the investment team for SoftBank's LATAM fund. Yeah. And then SoftBank just got very excited about crypto around 2020 during the last
Not
cycle.
only in Brazil, but worldwide, right?
Yeah, worldwide. So I had this sort of background. Was working with some of the senior leadership at SoftBank to basically think about, okay, how do we want to approach crypto? What are the opportunities? What should we be excited about, et cetera? And I do think going through that landscape, Latin America, super exciting landscape to be deploying capital into for crypto opportunities.
And at your work at SoftBank, you targeted Brazil and other emerging markets, mainly Brazil and LATAM?
Mostly LATAM, because I was sitting out in the LATAM pod. I was doing more of the technical type investments, so some of the, obviously crypto, very technical area, but also some of the called lending fintechs. So I was a board observer on Creditas here in Brazil. Worked with a couple other lending fintechs as well. Yeah. But crypto specifically, I was leading a good amount of the deals.
And what was at the time SoftBank's approach to crypto, especially in LATAM?
Yeah, I mean back then it was more on the equity side. So it was just very difficult for an investment house that's regulated on Japanese stock exchanges to participate in these sort of token deals. I do think the token opportunity is much bigger, which I can talk about later. But for SoftBank, the bread and butter is growth equity in equity-based investments. So those were the types of opportunities that we were talking
Were
about.
you at SoftBank when they invested in Mercado Bitcoin here in Brazil?
Yeah, I was there.
I
was
there.
Actually meeting with the team yesterday.
Oh, amazing. Great. So how do you think that these experiences that you had shaped the way you think about investments and conduct 99 Capital?
Yeah, so this is how I got to 99 Capital. So just looking at the opportunity set, right? I think most of the money that you can be making and the biggest opportunity set in crypto is on the token side versus just purely playing on the equity side.
Equity side, yeah.
The beauty of tokens is highly liquid. You can be a lot more creative in terms of the types of things you can do with tokens beyond just owning part of the company. Yeah. And then just early investments is where you generate the biggest amount of alpha from the different life cycle stages of investments. So I knew that
it's where the gold pot is, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I knew that that's the area that I wanted to be deploying capital into. But from my perspective, just being on the ground, talking to entrepreneurs, talking to everyday people, seeing what the real pain points are that crypto can really solve. I put it this way. This is how I explain it to guys in the U.S. or guys in China. If we're being honest, crypto for most guys in the U.S. or UK or Europe or even Singapore, gambling asset. But if you go to places like Brazil or Argentina or Turkey or Nigeria, where you have macro issues, history of asset seizures. If you have like
inflation,
hyperinflation. If you have banking institutions that are call it very expensive, right? Crypto basically breaks down the barriers for all of these. And if you look at the net new growth in terms of who's actually using who's actually users of these sort of products, the fastest growth in terms of users is in places in emerging markets. So Africa, LATAM, Southeast Asia. Not because, well, there's some gambling element as well, but more importantly, it really does solve real life problems. So no matter, this is what gets me through bear markets is, I do payroll in places like Argentina, and people don't want to accept, local peso. People don't want to accept like BRLs. They only want to accept, call it stable coins or some other sort of tokens. Cheaper to transact, more stable in terms of, the price action, more accessible for the everyday people. So that's where I have my conviction.
And a better way to store value over time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's where my conviction comes from, that this is an asset class that where Pandora's box has been open, and it really does solve real problems beyond just like speculation in the U.S.
Yeah. And how was the shift from SoftBank to 99 Capital when you decided that you needed to create your own company and start from there?
Yeah, well, one is just identifying the opportunity set. So I think this is an opportunity that I wanted to really work on, but also I'm sure you feel the same way. It's very different working for yourself versus for other people. And me personally, I am a bit of a workaholic. I do like to work quite a bit, and having ownership of something that I build myself, I find that very rewarding.
Yeah. And what are the main investment thesis that you have on 99 Capital?
Yeah, I would say there are three. Well, I can go from tops down in terms of how we think about thesis, and go into like specific like verticals that we're going after. So the broad level thesis that we have is, look, where are the fastest growth in terms of users for crypto? It's in places like Brazil, like Argentina, these sort of emerging markets. If you look at the landscape of VCs, the capital allocators out there, there's not too many people who have both a global and local perspective, which, given how intertwined globally crypto is, you really do need perspective of both to be successful in doing something like this. So do think it's an opportunity for us to be very differentiated in the market. For us, like how we think about it is, yes, we'll look into say like local projects, top local projects in any sort of areas. We do have one portco in Brazil as well. But then also, if you talk to founders who are based in say like New York or like Singapore, these sort of areas, every founder knows that we need Brazilian users, we need Nigerian users, but it's a big challenge to actually get these sort of users. So how we help out our portcos is, say if you're a founder that's abroad, we'll get you the right channels, help you with distribution, we'll help you with kind of go to market into these sort of areas, which makes us very different versus the other VCs.
I see. So you mentioned three pillars.
Yep.
You invest in crypto in your thesis. Are there any other areas that you are looking to allocate your capital? Yeah,
we're primarily just a token fund, so we're focused primarily on crypto opportunities. We've done some AI deals, but in terms of like the subsectors that we go after, that I think is
100% crypto.
We have one, so we have 8 portcos. One deal is more like Web 2.5 AI.
I see.
But yeah, it's a crypto focused fund.
So you've been working with Brazilian entrepreneurs for quite a while now, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Since, including SoftBank, since 2019. So it's been an ecosystem since, it's about 5 years now.
Amazing. So you got the opportunity to know the market in depth, right?
Exactly. And it's pretty incredible how fast the market's been progressing. So,
and I also know you have advice to give to Brazilian entrepreneurs. I would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so a couple points of advice just from my experience talking to top founders both globally and locally. I think definitely what Brazil has is a lot of hard workers, a lot of very smart people, especially on the technical side. A lot of very smart people here.
Yeah.
One advice I would give to folks who are building here, particularly in crypto, because of how global crypto is think about your product from a first principle standpoint. So ask yourself the tough questions, because end of the day, what you're rewarded for as an entrepreneur is doing the hard things. You don't have to do everything. Do everything okay. What you're really rewarded for is doing the few things that are very, very difficult. So I would say from a first principle perspective, just think about and ask yourself the question of, okay, like, is this a product that's actually needed? Like, what's the core problem that I'm solving for? Are people actually willing to pay for this? Why do I deserve to build this versus someone with like a lot more resources who looks at Brazil like, how come I can do this and like build something valuable that someone else who can just like deploy some capital here can't do, right? So I think a good framework to think here is okay, if I have this company, right, number one, like, talk to your customers. Like, is this something that my customers actually will want to use, and do the economics make sense? Am I actually solving like a core problem that someone else can't just like throw money at? And then also thinking about not necessarily that getting acquired is a target, but I think that forces you to think, okay, like, if you're going to be an acquisition target, then that means you're building something difficult that someone else finds your product or your systems and processes quite valuable.
Yeah, and especially for crypto entrepreneurs, I think that the main question that they need to ask is crypto really necessary in this solution for the problem I'm solving, right?
Yeah, like, maybe this is a little bit of a controversial take, but here's a thought that I've been thinking of recently is there's been quite a few RWA infrastructure projects that I've seen come out of Brazil, but a big question that I have for a lot of these guys who are building this is, if your end customer is someone like a Itaú or like a BlackRock, etc., how come you can build something that they can't? Because for you to deploy, say, like an L2, or for you to deploy some sort of like custody services, etc., these guys need to trust that your tech levels are. You need to build
way
something
higher.
Your tech standard needs to be way higher than anything that they can build internally. And to be honest, like, if you want to launch an L2, if you want to build some sort of custody solutions, these guys are probably a bit better positioned on the tech side.
Yeah, because for every developer you have on your team, they have like 10, 20 developers that can move pretty much faster than you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So going back to like my point of, okay, core principles thinking, or first principles thinking, for RWAs, like, what's the most important challenge in RWAs? It's two things. One is distribution, which the Itaús, the banks, they have that, and then also credit underwriting and origination. So if you can build a book and actually get very high quality assets, because then the day, for RWAs, if you don't have high quality assets, doesn't matter how good the infrastructure is. If you're not solving that piece, it's quite difficult to expand into the market very long term.
Yeah, and actually the large banks are moving in this direction, right? Itaú has a digital assets area.
Exactly.
They have invested in a security tokens platform. Exactly. BTG also has Mint that is trying to tokenize that. Every major player in this industry is doing something related to RWA, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, continuing with the RWA example, so, saying, given that, these are two biggest, call it pain points, or like the challenges to solve, and if you solve these problems, you're going to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think, for example, a couple opportunities within that could be more exciting are stuff like, call it like AI solutions that help you underwrite much better. So Nubank, for example, like, they recently acquired a AI company that helps them better underwrite these sort of like loans and credit origination. That's something that you can't just like throw money and hire whatever engineers, or use some sort of like L2 as L2 as a service to build out. Much more defensible and much more difficult to build up. Which again, like if you're building something difficult, you will get rewarded.
Yeah, it's what we call acqui-hire. You will be acqui-hired from these companies, especially if they are looking to build those types of solutions for their portfolio, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so I would love to hear a little bit more about 99 Capital, and you told that there's a focus on emerging markets as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty hot topic, not only in the emerging markets, but worldwide, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so what makes these markets so compelling for crypto investments, and how do they differ from more established markets in terms of risk and opportunity?
Yeah, I think the biggest opportunity in emerging markets is actually user base, which
User base.
If again, like the average person in the US is looking at crypto as a speculative asset class
Mm-hmm.
versus there's a lot more real world use cases in places like Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
But for every crypto solution, do you think that is more usability here for general users, or there are specific fields that makes more sense?
well, it starts, in my opinion, for emerging markets, everything starts with payments,
Mm-hmm.
because living in the U.S., living in say like London, you don't have the perspective of dealing with these sort of financial institutions that are very extractive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the U.S., if I want to send money to a friend, it's instantaneous and free, and if I want to do a cross-border payment, it's like 2% take rate. I was looking at BCB website data for the average remittance cost to send money to Brazil. It costs about 9 to 10%,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the take rate is
Huge.
honestly absurd.
Yeah.
Like the banks are just waiting to get disrupted from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the economics of like a stablecoin to stablecoin swap, that goes from call it like 10% to maybe like a bip. So that's what, like about 1,000x improvement. So even if you're not very crypto native, that is such an obvious solution that you will learn about crypto. You will onboard onto whether an exchange or like a wallet or one of these solutions to get a first touch point into crypto. And then once you learn about crypto, then the whole field becomes fair game. You start thinking about DeFi or get introduced to DeFi. You
have yields in PayPal stablecoin like 20%.
Exactly.
Of API.
Exactly.
It's pretty much
Mm-hmm.
way over what we have here in fixed income. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think that's a unique aspect of emerging markets, which is very different from the US, which is everyday use cases. So I think if you're building in EMs or like attracting EM customers, that's a pretty obvious first touch point to get users.
Yeah. So you also do a lot of research in AI.
Exactly.
At Harvard, right? You have established a research pod for this matter. I would love to hear a little bit more about that as well.
Yeah, so my degree was actually in statistics, so I did a lot of AI research back in the day. But this was before, the 2017 paper that Google released that basically transformed everything in AI. So did some research back in the day, and just been because of that, I've been very close with all the developments in AI.
Yeah, and it's funny because people think AI is something new, right? And it's a science that exists like 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, but I think it's really accelerated since 2017.
Yeah, for sure.
After Google released All You Need Is Attention. That was the seminal paper that OpenAI is based off of, and all these like LLM models are based out of. So right now the pace of innovation on AI is really accelerating. Yeah, and I think it's inevitable if you look at the general direction of where AI is headed that there will be the intersection of AI and crypto.
Amazing.
If you look at just the big trends of what's happening in AI, right? Increasingly centralized. It's becoming a big power game between governments, big tech. You need a lot of capital to develop these foundation models. Yeah. Because of that, increasingly more censorship, more bias into these sort of models. you have instances of these sort of centralized data providers who are cleaning up the data or like, censoring the sort of data or like going back in history and, revising some of the sort of data, which if you think about, okay, what is a blockchain and, how does blockchain actually help this sort of stuff? I think it's inevitable that it converges with a couple use cases. So one is on the data side, so data integrity. Blockchain at the end of the day is a decentralized ledger.
Yeah.
So if you have data that's fully available, on chain that everyone owns, that's immutable, that you can't really change, then that's going to be very important for data integrity. These sort of censorship of models. If you flip it to like community owned, community driven, bottoms up versus a tops down model,
remove the bias. Right?
You remove these sort of biases that you've seen in, for example, Google, Gemini,
OpenAI.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then third big thing that I think is going to be a huge trend that only crypto can solve is on the AI agent side. So listen to what Zuckerberg says, listen to what Sam Altman says, listen to basically these big model builders of where they think they're pushing their product towards. They're pushing their product towards agents not as called like a co-pilot or like an assistant to humans, but literally in the last like few months, AI is getting powerful enough where agents have capability of interacting with other agents, right? So we're going to have, in my view, in the next few years,
machine-to-machine interaction.
Exactly,
Right?
AI to AI type interactions, which how do you scale that? The only way you can scale that is with programmatic money. You need to create incentives to either have AI to AI incentivize each other for certain tasks, or if it's like a AI to real world type task, like AI is never going to deliver me like a, I'm going to call it like a cup of coffee, right? The only way you can attach some sort of payments or attach some sort of like a incentivization model is with programmatic money. You're not going to attach like a, call it like a bank card, KYC bank card from Santander, right? The only way you can really scale AI to AI is with programmatic money, which the only solution there is crypto.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine a world where cross-border global connectivity of these AI to AI agent type bots, and they incentivize each other, or like pay each other for certain tasks, or like use certain resources, pull certain resources across a full AI stack.
But do you believe like a AI to AI self-written smart contract that can negotiate a term of a deal, or just payment gateways between machines?
I think we'll have to see. The developer side isn't robust enough yet to fully secure XYZ amount of dollars in a scalable way. But I think what I imagine will happen in the future is some sort of like bidding mechanism.
And any besides incentives and payments between AIs, do you think that there is any other type of application that could be used by or intersects between crypto and AI, like NFTs or some sort of decentralized application? Is there any that you're looking that you think it's a good opportunity for?
Yeah, the one that I'm really focused on is on the application side. So there's a lot of builders for like decentralized compute, decentralized call it like data, or like decentralized inference type models. For me, I'm very focused on the application level. I think that's where some of the biggest opportunities are that isn't fully tapped yet. So that's a lot of the focus that I'm setting up for the research pod at the Institute of Quantitative Social Sciences at Harvard. And then also at the fund, we incubated, and I'm the co-founder of an AI protocol that is solving this exact point. So co-founded Love AI, which is a AI app builder. So anyone without any sort of knowledge of code can launch an AI workflow or AI bot that can put together through our app builder, right? And you type in plain English, not a single line of code. You say, I want this bot to do this action, do this analysis, then do this sort of action. On the back end, we'll put together whatever different like models. So we have our own language models. We'll put together Mistral, all these sorts of like open source models, pull on other APIs like data calls from coin market cap, pull on other data, APIs for workflow, and then you as a user, you can deploy that sort of application direct onto Telegram, direct onto WhatsApp, and then anyone who builds on top of us will give you tokens, and you can have an earning mechanism. So if you create something useful for everyone around the world to use, then you get passive income, and you can really earn money from doing this sort of stuff.
And do you believe AI will ever be mature enough to audit smart contracts?
I think, well, on that point, smart contract auditing, I think you'll have AI that will help you, but the problem with smart contract audits is it's a cat and mouse game, right?
Yeah.
And usually offense, it has an advantage over defense in cybersecurity. So that sort of stuff, I think you can have
it's
AI.
Like the vaccine and disease paradigm, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's not just like your average hacker that's sitting in, I don't know, someone's basement. It's you have, nation states. You have like Lazarus Group in North Korea. You have other nation state type hackers who are very sophisticated. So
it's an army of hackers against you, right?
Exactly. So I think it's going to be a while before that sort of stuff can be fully automated.
And how does 99 Capital approaches to the ethical side of AI and crypto as well? How do you look at these challenges that lies ahead?
I mean, I think crypto in general, if you're just in the space, it's positive net force for the world. So I can break it between like crypto and AI. So crypto, if you're just in an arena, especially for places like Brazil or like emerging markets, it's positive force for the world. You're giving people, the everyday people, cheaper fees, greater access to financial services, greater access to get connected to the global economy. So I think just being in an arena, it's generally net positive for the world. For AI, I would argue. Well, I'll ask you this question, right? There's a lot of people ask, okay, how do you approach like the ethical considerations of what if you do like whatever these things in AI? But everyone who asks these sort of questions about, okay, we need to do something about like censorship, or we need to do something to regulate AI, people only talk about that from a retail perspective. No one ever talks about this sort of stuff from military applications, right? So if you compare, okay, if you just take a step back, okay, why aren't they asking about military applications? There's a different power game going on there, right? So again, like AI's trending towards more centralization, and I think if you're involved in call it inverting that model from centralized model to decentralized model, that is again like a net positive for development AI and like ethics for AI, because AI should be a powerful tool, and it is a very powerful tool, but that power should be in the hands of everyday people, not just a select few decision makers at the very, very top.
Military or enterprise, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
and actually, I believe that no technology is natively or inherently bad or good. Actually, the use people do to it is bad or good, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I would say the people who are using AI in unethical ways, if you want to use AI in unethical ways, you are sophisticated enough to figure out the ways to do it. So if you do have these sort of restrictions, you're really only restricting the good players of the world. Like what we really want to do is make people more efficient, solve these sort of problems. I think we can launch a ton of education type modules that really help people who have less resources to have a personal tutor. You can have healthcare applications or like healthcare workflows that really improve quality of care. I think these sort of applications are stuff that we see being launched on top of Love AI as well. So yeah, our model, our thinking is people around the world are inherently good, and we think people will build applications that are for the good of the everyday people.
So when it comes to projects that intersects between AI and crypto, do you have any hotspots for people to look ahead, look forward, and invest in, or that's something confidential that you cannot share with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, investing in AI, I think, my personal opinion, I think the most exciting areas are in the application level, which again, like, is where we're spending a lot of time, both on like Love AI as well as looking for vertical application type solutions. And then,
but are there tokens to invest in this application side?
There's some listed tokens on some of these exchanges, but most of the stuff, I think we're still very early days in terms of AI and crypto.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that's investable by retail is on the infrastructure side. So, for example, like Render, which is doing like decentralized GPUs. Yeah. Again, like most of the stuff so far has been on the infrastructure side, but I think it's inevitable that you have movement upwards in terms of stack on the application side.
Yeah, because Render is not a direct investment in AI per se, right? It's like more you are investing in distributed processing of information, and because AI uses a lot of computing power, and Render uses these GPUs in a decentralized way.
Yeah.
You're kind of investing in AI, right?
Yeah, the area that we're most excited about is on the application level. I think, yes, there's a lot of opportunities on, call it like a GPU side or some of the data side, but I think the largest untapped opportunity so far is mass market applications that are delivered with like AI on the back end. And I think also it's much easier for, regular everyday people to participate in, again, like the upside of on the application level. So for us, for example, like I think it's harder for, we'll just give an example, like for the everyday person to, buy an NVIDIA H100, GPU and put that into one of these like decentralized GPU type networks. You're gonna need a lot of upfront cash and some technical expertise to mine that as well. But with Love AI, to use an example, anyone can deploy any sort of AI apps. All you have to do is have a great idea. If you have a great idea that solves problems for people and people actually use your application, our mechanism rewards you with tokens, with the shared upside for you to deliver that value to everyday people. And I think there's a lot of things that you can do with AI with what we're building here. So whether it's like WhatsApp workflows or like Telegram type workflows, I think these sort of things can really solve some problems, and we really do want to reward the builders who are building on top of this. So,
and any tokens that you believe that the common user can invest in related to AI and crypto currently?
I mean, the largest public ones are Render, IO.net. Near has been doing quite a bit. Founder of Near, by the way, he was. I can't believe this is not like more common knowledge, but he's like one of the most like OG AI guys. So he was one of the original authors of the Google paper that I mentioned earlier. So he was actually one of the original authors there. So he's obviously very well connected on the AI side, but very knowledgeable.
Yeah, but I mean, are there any specific projects like, Render is like an indirect investment in AI because you're investing in a protocol of decentralized GPUs, and given that AI uses a lot of computer power to run its operations, investing in Render should be something smart to do, but it's not directly investing in AI the same way as investing in WorldCoin is investing in Sam Altman's project, which is the CEO and founder of OpenAI, but is not a AI project per se. So are there any specific AI projects that you're looking into that our audience can enjoy as well?
Yeah, I mean, right now there's, to be honest, not many called like AI tokens to invest in.
There are no companies that rose capital with tokens, decentralized offers or stuff like that.
Yeah, I think based on your definition of like quote unquote like core AI, I would still count stuff like Render as AI tokens because they're critical in terms of like the offering stack for what's needed in AI. So I would still categorize that as AI. But in terms of like the application level, if that's what you're referring to, I think still very early days, which is why I'm so bullish on building out this like Love AI and as well as looking at the application side.
Okay, amazing. I know it's something hard to predict, but I would love to hear more about your take on the technology side related to crypto and AI emerging markets for the next 5 to 10 years. Where do you believe as a venture capitalist that these markets are heading?
Yeah, I think if I were building, especially from the perspective of a Brazilian, I would look especially on these sort of like Telegram bots as well as WhatsApp bots. To give some context, so I can give a couple examples, but to give some context, right? If you look at comparatively with like the WeChat ecosystem in China, that's huge, right? You have literally millions of mini apps that have grown over the last like 5 or 6 years or so. So basically almost no apps to millions of apps that are deployed on the WeChat ecosystem. On the behind the scenes, why has WeChat been able to launch that robust of an ecosystem versus someone like a WhatsApp hasn't been able to do that? Yeah. It's not because Zuckerberg doesn't realize that this is a big opportunity. Like Zuckerberg's one of the smartest tech CEOs out there, in my opinion, probably the best one. It's because Tencent has some leverage with Apple, given they're in China and they have basically some leverage to be able to offer like effectively like an app ecosystem within WeChat, right? And if you look at the U.S. court trends of antitrust and what's happening with that in the U.S., so there's a big push in the judicial system in the U.S. to open up some of these like app stores and have a lot more flexibility for these sort of like app ecosystems to really develop. So I think a big trend that's going to happen, especially after looking at the recent ruling against Google for their antitrust case, I think what's going to happen is iOS Play Store plus like the Android store are going to release or pull back on some of their requirements and allow guys like WhatsApp, which obviously everyone in Brazil uses. I think my prediction is they're going to release or pull back on some of those requirements and allow a guy like a WhatsApp to have this sort of like bot ecosystem. So that's an area that I think if it really does take off and you're first early mover there, then there's a lot of growth to be there to be done there.
Upside to collect, yeah.
And I can give some numbers as well for some market corollaries. So that's been a big push for Telegram. So Telegram, they ship very quietly, but they've been doing quite. Yeah. So to give an example for the Tani ecosystem, right? One thing that's happened over the last couple months to the last 12 months has been development of these sort of like click to earn games or these sort of like app ecosystems within Telegram, right? And one to give some numbers. So one very popular app that's been incredibly viral has been a game called Hamster Combat. So just in several months, they've gotten I don't know how many are real verified users, but they've gotten about 150 million active monthly users. And that's
huge.
Exactly. And that's just from these sort of earn mechanisms, but also just as important is the sharing component of it. So if I really enjoy the game, I can earn from it, and I get incentivized to share it with my friends. And all my friends are already on Telegram, or in this case like WhatsApp. I think that viral sharing can be an incredible CAC mechanism for you as a company or like you as a builder.
Yeah, sounds promising. We have a sample here of one of the other project that you are involved in, right? You are developing a smartphone?
Yeah, so one of the companies that we invested in and quite involved with as well is a company called Jumbo. So,
Jumbo, okay.
Yeah, I actually have the phone here. So basically what Jumbo does, it's a $99 US Web3 smartphone, so 500 reais. Very good value for the phone, but in terms of quality of phone, I can pull it out. So in terms of quality of phone, it's just as good as some of these latest smartphone brands, but Jumbo doesn't take any sort of margin or gross margin here. So the user who buys it gets it for the cheapest price possible. But what the real power here is that it unlocks the world of Web3 for the everyday user. So the user journey is this: the user comes on board. I'm looking for a better phone versus
If you want to show it to the audience, you can show to the camera.
So this is I'll do an unboxing here, but
okay.
The everyday user, you're looking for a brand new phone, right? You're looking for a new phone to upgrade your phone. But then in this phone, it's powered with Web3 earn mechanisms. So you can take a look here as well. So this is a 500 reais for this phone, and
plus taxes, right?
And the specs are quite incredible. But once you start using the app, right, there are Web3 functions that are in here, and the most notable one is you can actually earn money from doing that. So doing quests from Jumbo's partners, and Jumbo has some of the largest partners, in Web3 that are close partners that Jumbo works with. You start discovering these apps, you start onboarding on crypto, you learn about crypto, and actually get tokens, you get airdrops, you get these sort of rewards for doing it. And how I think about it is, instead of a phone being a cost center where you're kind of losing money from buying a phone, this actually turns into an earned phone. So after a couple months, this phone actually becomes free if you are actively engaging with Web3 community, actively engaging with these sort of quests. So you can check it out.
And does it has its own operational system, or it's like an Android based or
Android based? But it's its own operating system. So
those are the
investors.
Investors,
yes.
okay. Paradigm, Parify, Pantera, Coinbase, amazing.
Yeah, 99 Capital.
99 Capital.
Yeah. So some of the best investors on the cap table, I think. They're selling incredibly hot, especially in emerging markets.
Are there any native crypto games here?
Yeah, there are crypto games on here. So one of the hottest games that's out in Asia called Matrix Fire is a close partner of Jumbo's. So you can play the game and you earn some of their Fire tokens.
Amazing.
So this is incredibly popular in places like emerging markets.
I think Solana is also developing its own Web3 smartphone, right?
So there is a Saga phone, but Jumbo is actually a very close partner of Solana, and the foundation has been putting a lot of resources to push Jumbo as like the premier called like emerging markets phone for the foundation. So a lot of work behind the scenes that are I guess you'll see the big push in Brazil specifically.
Congratulations on your investment, because I think it's gonna.
Yeah, the team is incredible. Yeah, the founders are some of the sharpest founders I've met in crypto.
Do they have tokens to invest in?
Soon. So keep an eye out. I think
amazing.
I'm biased, but I think I'm gonna put some money into it personally.
So Dave, I would love to continue with our conversation, but unfortunately we have reached our time limit. I would like to know if you have any final remarks you would like to do to our audience before we end this episode.
I think just if you're in the arena for crypto, you're in the right place. I think if you're again solving the hard problems, if you're doing the right things, you will get rewarded for doing that. I guess one also last point is for Love AI, something that we're doing as well is we're releasing a grants program. So we want smart builders. We want guys from top universities or very smart builders to build on top of us, and we're having a grants program. So anyone listening to the podcast who's interested in building with Love AI's platform, we'll love to.
How can we access more information about this grant program?
Shoot me a message, and you can find me either on LinkedIn. So either find me on LinkedIn or Twitter. And our website is loveai.xyz.
Amazing. Thank you very much for our conversation.
Thanks so much for
I'll now switch back to Portuguese to make my final remarks, okay?
Tá bom.
Pessoal, então, mais uma vez aí um episódio super bacana para você. Se você gostou desse conteúdo e achou que ele te agregou em alguma coisa, aperta esse botão de like, se inscreve aqui no canal, ativa o sininho de notificações para ficar sempre por dentro desses episódios e das informações que a gente traz para você aqui. Lembrando que esse podcast foi um oferecimento da Bybit, que é a melhor plataforma para você comprar, vender, negociar e fazer tudo ligado a cripto e Web3, inclusive se conectar a aplicativos aplicativos descentralizados, né? Então, se você ainda não tem sua conta, a gente tem aqui na descrição um link que você pode criar sua conta e ser elegível a receber até $100 em bônus ligados a cripto e Web3. A gente vai ficando por aqui e a gente se fala de novo na semana que vem. Um abraço, até a próxima e tchau.